Shauna has always been somewhat of a wild card in Yellowjackets, but after Season 3's latest rescue twist, it's truly shocking that the character made it out of the wilderness alive. Shauna is the current Antler Queen in Yellowjackets' 90s timeline, taking the role from Natalie in Season 3. Surprisingly, Shauna has a lot of influence on the others despite making decisions based on emotions rather than what would benefit the group. She was the one who pushed for Coach Scott's guilty verdict and handed out the punishment after Nat killed Ben as a mercy killing. While she has never been one to shy away from sharing her thoughts and feelings, Shauna is transforming into a villain in Yellowjackets Season 3. Maybe it's her method of survival, but she continues taking control in a way that divides more than unites due to her vengeful demeanor and dwindling sense of humanity. She was never a saint, especially when looking at the cause of her pregnancy and continued actions as an adult, but I'm shocked the others let her call the shots as long as they did. Shauna is preventing the survivors from their first real rescue attempt. Shauna isn't letting the group leave the camp. Teen Shauna, Sophie Nellis, and Teen Lottie, Courtney Eaton, decide to stay at the campsite in Yellowjackets Season 3 Episode 8. Image via Paramount+. After introducing scientists Hannah and Edwin, along with their guide, Kodiak, Yellowjackets Season 3 reveals what happens when the outsiders wander into the survivor camp. Croak implied Hannah and Kodiak will also die in the wilderness after Edwin's murder at the hands of Lottie. Granted, the group then attempts to force Hannah and Kodiak to lead them to a rescue point until Shauna puts an end to that mission. Once Lottie and Tyser announce that they are staying in the wilderness, Shauna not only agrees to ditch the rescue attempt, but she also decides that nobody will be leaving the camp. Prior to Shauna's decision in Yellowjackets Season 3, Episode 8, the majority of the plane survivors are ecstatic at the notion of possibly being rescued. Many of them dream of what they will do first when they get home as they frantically pack their remaining belongings for the long hike. Then, the Yellowjackets episode ends with a divisive decision from their Antler Queen, indicating the group will remain at camp with Hannah and Kodiak as their hostages. I would have expected the adult survivors to despise Shauna. The adults still help Shauna despite her actions in the wilderness. Before Shauna seemingly ruins the first real chance at rescue for the group, Lottie seemed to have hurt the possibility when she killed Edwin with the axe. By killing the newcomer, Hannah and Kodiak surely wouldn't willingly help unless they are forced. That becomes the case in Yellowjackets Season 3, Episode 8, when the group decides to use weapons to make Kodiak lead them to the rescue point. Still, if this is the reason the Yellowjackets remain trapped in the wilderness for months longer, I don't understand why the adult characters haven't carried animosity towards Shauna. The relationships between Yellowjackets adult survivors are extremely complicated, but they are still bonded by their shared trauma. At times, they prove that they still deeply care for one another, especially when it comes to a case like Natalie's tragic death. While she may have had support from characters like Lottie and Ty, it's odd that Natalie and some of the others didn't have major issues with Shauna as an adult, based on what we've seen in the 90s timeline. I'm not saying Shauna deserves to get killed, but it's interesting how much was forgiven or possibly forgotten regarding Shauna's wilderness actions. How will Shauna's decision to stay in the wilderness impact the group? Division could create different factions in the wilderness. The Yellowjackets crowd looking puzzled in Yellowjackets Season 3 Episode 8. Image via Paramount+. By Nat's reaction to Shauna's declaration that nobody would be leaving, it sure seems like the conflict between the survivors will intensify throughout the rest of Yellowjackets Season 3. Many signs point to the young survivors splitting up into factions as they head into another dangerous winter. We know Melissa is the confirmed 8th survivor in Yellowjackets, but there are plenty of others expected to be killed off before the actual rescue. Warring groups and cannibalism could explain some of the inevitable deaths. Either way, tension will certainly be high from here on out. The adult timeline previously implied that Natalie was a major factor in the group's eventual rescue, though it's unclear how exactly she will help get them saved. Even without the Antler Queen role, Nat remains as a leading figure, so it wouldn't be surprising if she pushes back against Shauna while forming her own group that prioritizes rescue over anything else. Whether or not Shauna remains a villain-like character in Yellowjackets remains to be seen, but for now, it's just surprising that more people weren't out to get her as time went on.